Hey everyone, it's Melanie Ham. Today I'm going to show you how to make a crocheted zip pouch, and this is going to be hand sewing our zipper in, so you do not need a sewing machine in order to create this zippered pouch. I know many of my crocheters do not own one, so you don't need one for this project. You need some yarn, and whatever yarn you choose, get the coordinating crochet hook size. I'm going to talk about the sizing in a minute. You need some scissors, you need a yarn needle to weave in those ends, and then you need a zipper, whatever size you like, whatever size is going to work for you. You need a coordinating thread with your yarn choice for hand sewing, and then some hand sewing needles. Nothing fancy, whatever you have on hand is fine. The other thing that you're going to need is a small piece of fabric to do the lining on the inside of the bag, and I will go over the sizing for that in a moment once we get there, because everybody might pick a slightly different zipper size, so we'll talk about the sizing when it comes to that. So you can refer to my blog post, which will have the various kind of measurements that you'll need for fabric. Again, scrap pieces will probably work just fine. All right, so I did leave my zipper out because we're going to create our panel width is going to be the width of our zipper from our zipper pull to our zipper end here. So you can make a small zip pouch, a large one, up to you. We're going to start with a slip knot. And you're going to just bring that free end up into a loop. We will insert the hook, pull on that free end to tighten it down. Now we're going to do our foundation chain, which basically we're going to take our working yarn, which is what's attached to the ball, and we'll yarn over, pull through. Don't worry, I'll get a close-up. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Kind of creates a little bit of like a V there. See how that stitch kind of looks like a V. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. That's how the foundation chain looks. You want to make sure that each of those stitches are about the same size. Don't go too tight. Let the hook do the work for you, because you don't want the foundation chain to be too tight. It will create problems for you later on. So I want you to finish making your foundation chain as wide as your zipper. All right, my foundation chain is about the size of my zipper. You can maybe go 1 or 2 stitches longer, because we are going to come in and do our double crochet. So I'm actually going to add one more little chain there. All right, so you kind of see that, just slightly larger than our zipper. And then what we're going to do is start doing our double crochets. Now when we're doing our double crochets, we need to come in, we have here, don't worry about the loop that's on your hook, just ignore that one. Then we've got these chains here. So we're actually going to insert our double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. So there's 1, 2, and then in the 3rd one, we're going to insert our first double crochet stitch. And our double crochet is yarn over, insert the hook, and we're going to insert the hook so that we have 2 strands above our hook. So there's sort of the front of the chain kind of looks like a V, and then the back has this little, like another strand back there, like a little center little ridge. I call it like the ridge guy. So you want your hook to go underneath one of the V's and that back little ridge guy. Yarn over, we're going to insert our hook. So moral of the story is you need to have 2 strands above your hook. Yarn over, pull through. Don't worry, we will do this again. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through the remaining 2 loops. And then we're going to continue doing that stitch all the way down our entire foundation chain. So let's do a few more together. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain over. Make sure there's 2 strands of yarn above your hook. Yarn over, pull through. There are 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, 2 loops. One more time. yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through. We've got 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over the remaining 2. I'm going to yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over, pull through. There are 3 loops, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over the second 2. Now continue that going all the way down to the end. Okay, so we double crochet in the last chain here, and then we're ready to get started on our second row. So what we're going to do is chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to turn our work because we always crochet from right to left. Now this chain 2 turning chain here, that counts as a double crochet. All right, so what we need to do is actually put our double crochet in the second stitch over. So let's take a look at our stitches here nice and close. We've got 1 stitch here, so the turning chain is actually coming out of there, so we're not going to place a stitch here. We're going to place our first double crochet in this stitch. All right. So yarn over, insert your hook, and you can see I'm inserting my hook underneath those 2 strands that are kind of shaped like a V. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over 2 loops, yarn over 2 loops. I'm going to show you again really quick. A lot of people get confused about where you're supposed to put the hook. So I've got my little pointer guy here. So you can see these are the V's that I'm sort of talking about right here on the tops of those previous double crochet stitches. Zoom out a little bit. So you're going to be putting a stitch here, and a stitch here, and a stitch here, and so on. So it's underneath these 2 strands. Okay, so basically you're just going to put a double crochet in every stitch going all the way down till you get to the end. So go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you at the end and show you what the end will look like. Here we are at the end of our second row. So let's take a look here at what we've got left. So we've got, this is the stitch, we just put a stitch in on the top here. We've got 1, 2, and then this is the turning chain, which we need to put a stitch there as well. So we have 3 more. And then I want you to double check and make sure you have the same number of double crochets in each row. That way you'll be able to know now if there's been any mistakes before you continue on. So we will put our double crochet here. And then the next guy. And you can see how it kind of like bubbles out. It doesn't look like it's finished. So that's kind of a visual clue that there needs to be 1 more stitch there. And then you can verify that by counting your stitches to make sure that you've got the correct number. So see, that looks much more finished. So that's all there is to it. You're going to chain 2 again, and remember that counts as your first double crochet. So we're doing 1, 2, turn our work, stitching in the second stitch over because this did count as a double crochet. When you reach the end of that row, just remember that this turning chain counts as a double crochet, so there needs to be a stitch there. And then double check yourself by counting your stitches to make sure you've got enough. Then what you're going to do is create a big rectangle, and I have moved ahead and made one already. So this is the exact same yarn, but it's in a different color, obviously. And what we're going to do is fold it in half. So make it however large you want it so that it's folded. You fold it in half, and then the zipper will go up here. Okay, so however large you want yours to be. Mine's about 8 inches tall, so that is up to you. So then what we're gonna do, you're gonna finish out that double crochet stitch. So we've done that over here on this side. We're gonna fold it in half, and then we need to stitch down the sides. So we've already got this yarn here, so we'll just we'll fold it so that the where we were working is on the top. Fold it over and match up your ends, and then we're just going to slip stitch down. You can add a fun little border right here if you wanted to. If you're more of an experienced crocheter, go for it, but you certainly don't have to. Slip stitch, all that is we're going to insert the hook, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through the loop that was already on your hook. So again, we're going to insert our hook, getting both the front and the back of our bag here, yarn over, pull through, and then continue pulling through the loop on the hook. So we're going to insert, yarn over, and this is called a slip stitch. Okay, so do that all the way down. I'll meet you at the end, and then we will do the other side. All right, here we are at the end. This doesn't have to be perfection. Make sure that it's secure. That's most important. We want our bag to, our little pouch here, to stay together above all else. So once you are at the end, we can snip, leave yourself a bit of a tail, yarn over and pull that through. And then you will take your yarn needle and weave in your ends on this side. Okay, and all you'll do is probably bring it into the center, and with your yarn needle go back and forth, make sure that everything's secure, and then trim it. I'm actually going to start from the bottom back up to the top, because you can see that the front that kind of creates this little stitch here, so we want that to be on the same side of the bag. These are like nitpicky details, so don't stress too much about this stuff. But we'll insert our hook here at the end, or the base of the bag. Draw in your new yarn. Make sure there's a bit of a tail, that way we can weave that in later. And then you'll continue doing the same exact thing, slip stitching, going all the way up the side, just like we did before. And get that bag closed up. Okay, slip stitch all the way up, weave in those tails, And then I'll meet you back here and we will discuss exactly what to do next, getting our lining ready and sewing in our zipper. We are in the home stretch. Okay everyone, so we've got our crocheted outer piece made, and here is the fabric scrap piece that I created for the inside. I just went ahead and ironed down the top. We have our right sides together so that when we open up the bag, we see the printed fabric, the nice pretty side of the fabric. And then I ran this through my sewing machine just to make this faster for me, but you can hand sew this totally. So I just went about a 1/2 inch. I placed my outer piece right on top of the fabric. I folded it over. So we have our fold down here. And I left enough to fold it over on the top so that we have a section to hand sew onto our zipper. And then I just cut it that way. So no need to do anything too fancy. So now we are ready to finish up our zipper part. So we're going to place this inside. And our zipper is going to go in between the zipper tape. So we've got our teeth, which is the actual zipper part, and then the fabric that's on the outside part, that's called the zipper tape. So the zipper tape is going to go in between our crocheted piece and our fabric insert. Some clover clips will be really helpful for this. If you don't have clover clips, totally fine. These are one of my favorite sewing notions, so I recommend getting some. But you could use like those binder clips if you have that like in your office area, or pins would work okay too. Just something to help hold all these 3 layers together to make your hand sewing a little bit easier. So let's go ahead. We're gonna place, I'm gonna open the zipper up. And you want the end of the zipper, we want that to be at the very edge of the pouch, and then we want the other end to be on the other edge. So these little tails need to be tucked in between the layers. I'm not gonna lie, this is a little fiddly. If you have a sewing machine, let me know in the comment section down below if you want me to show you how to do this on a sewing machine, because it is a lot easier and a lot faster if you do know how to sew. So let me know if you want to do that, and I can put that video together for you. Because this is, it's a little fiddly. Not gonna lie, it's a little, you're gonna like mess with it a lot before you kind of get it going here. You can also do one side first. If you're having trouble doing both layers at the same time, totally okay. I'm gonna just do them at the same time. But if you want to, you can kind of pull this out and do the inside first and sew that on, and then insert that and just do the outside piece. So that's an option as well if you're having trouble. I am not gonna worry about this tail yet. I put in the zipper side and I lined everything up exactly how the zipper should go and clipped it into place. And this side is easier to do once you're able to close the zipper and then do this side. I think it's easier that way. You can kind of tuck these in and clip those together and just do that all at one time. Totally fine, up to you. I just feel like it's a little bit easier this way. So now that everything is clipped, we are ready to hand sew it. Now, you can use whatever hand sewing needle you have on hand, really is fine. Use a coordinating thread. This was the closest that I had, but it'll be fine because we're gonna still do it nice and neat so that it's hidden in here, but the thread choice that you want is gonna be what's closest to your crochet piece. You might see the stitches a little bit on your inside if it's a contrasting color, like this is a white. So if that's going to bother you, then you could use something like a dove gray. So up to you. I find that sometimes it's easier to use a little bit longer needle. So you can see this one's a little bit longer versus these, which are a little bit shorter. Don't get hung up on that though. Use whatever you have on hand. It's not a big deal. You're going to get your thread and we're going to make a knot on one end. And also it doesn't matter if this is cotton or polyester, just as long as it's a good strong thread is fine with me. Thread your needle. And then we will get sewing. So we want our needle, our knot to be hidden, right? So we can start, you can start on the zipper end, or you can start down here. I'm gonna start down here just because it's a little less bulky and I can make sure that everything is getting hidden. I'm gonna insert my needle through to the crochet side. I also pulled that through to kind of bury that knot, so I'm going to go back down pretty closely. And we're going to create a little knot here. So that's kind of how I'm going to get started. Just these little tiny stitches on the inside and hiding them in between the stitches on the front side. And go ahead and do that all the way down. So what I do is I just sort of bring my needle down, lift up a little bit of fabric, push it through, and then bring it through, but before you bring it through all the way, put your needle through that loop that you just created, and then tighten it down. It kind of creates a little knot. So I'm going to do that twice. Bring it up through the loop, tighten it down, and then I'm going to feed the needle through the fabric underneath, kind of travel across maybe about 3/4 of an inch. You could see it's coming out over here. And then that way it kind of buries that tail in there. Can trim off the excess, and then our zipper is complete. That is how you make the crocheted zipper pouch, attaching your zipper with a needle and thread without a sewing machine. Let me know in the comment section down below if you want to see this with the sewing machine. If you sew, it's a lot easier. It's a little less fiddly and a little faster. So let me know in the comment section down below if you would like to see that. Thanks so much for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe. Head on over to melaniekham.com. I will put the link right here for all of the written instructions. Happy stitching!